If we click just below wellness, you're going to find vitalism, right? So, and vitalism is the subset that I'm suggesting that we claim and we take ownership over as vitalistic chiropractors. If you're a vitalistic chiropractor and you fall in that spectrum, the vitalist is that person that uses chiropractic care as a lifestyle success strategy to be a healthy human being.
Hello and welcome to the Remarkable CEO Podcast, a show dedicated to chiropractors who want to transform their job into a business so that they can have a remarkable practice as part of a remarkable life, not instead of one. With your hosts, Dr. Pete Camiolo and Dr. Stephen Franson.
At Genesis, we help successful chiropractors implement spinal decompression with a fully turnkey system that handles everything from marketing and new patient generation to systems, protocols, and ongoing support. The result? Massive value for your practice and life-changing outcomes for your patients, all without drugs or surgery. This is the next evolution in chiropractic care. Welcome to Genesis.
What's up, Remarkables? Welcome to another episode of the Remarkable CEO Podcast. I'm Dr. Stephen Franson.
I'm Dr. Pete Camiolo.
Hey, we are coming in hot, fresh off the heels of a remarkable immersion. Man, that adjective never gets tired, Dr. Pete. It was truly a remarkable event, experience, our remarkable conversion and retention immersion. It is the remarkable practice process, right? So that is the immersion where we cover soup to nuts, the day 1, 2, 3, 4 conversion process into week 1, 2, 3, 4, month 1, 2, 3, 4, year 1, 2, 3, 4 retention process. Man, I love that we combined those. Years ago, we used to do them as separate immersions, but we combined them because we recognize it's the arc, right? So it's like you'll miss it if you don't really get to see and feel that retention begins at conversion, right? So in the Remarkable Practice system, we teach that retention begins at conversion. And when you do those back-to-back full days like that, you really see it. You see it play out. You see that patient journey. And as soon as you recognize that you are the Sherpa on the journey, not the hero, the patient's the hero on the journey, man, it's just awesome to come together and march people through, walk people through, whether it's their first immersion or their 15th immersion. They walk through that entire process with their team and everybody gains greater clarity, right? So we know that your retention is a reflection of your clarity. And man, it was a slam dunk this weekend.
It was. So as you were sharing that, I thought I wasn't going to say any of this, but I'm going to share, which are a few of my highlights from the immersion. And then I know we have a topic, but there's a few things that really stood out to me, Dr. Stephen, that for those of you who were not able to attend and those of you who did attend, I'm going to reinforce what you heard, but maybe from a different perspective. And there are 3 words that came to my mind. The 3 words I want to hit on are generation, number 2, authenticity, and number 3, perspective. Talk about generation. So one of the things that was shared, and I believe it was Dr. Lona, and I believe it was shared in a training that we did on day 3, which, by the way, happened to be one of the biggest takeaways from many docs and many clinics that were there, was how important that vital step is in the patient journey and how so many of us just miss that step. So I'm not going to get into that, but the concept of taking a generational perspective of your clinic and thinking about the next 150 years of patients and their lives and the lives of 150 years of patients being under regular chiropractic care, how would that influence and impact how you go through your onboarding process called the conversion process? And it's a complete shift in how you would do things. So that just blew my mind. I love that. And I'm just going to spend a lot of time thinking about that. Number 2 was authenticity. Dr. Sebastian did such a phenomenal job in his training on education. We talk about, chiropractic, when you come into chiropractic, you're really paying a tuition for correct continuing education because you can't afford the adjustment because it's priceless. So this idea that we are in the business of educating, we know the word doctor means teacher, but Sebastian did such a great job just teaching this. And he used a word that really stood out to me, and I resonated with it because I I believe it's one of the most important words. And you talked about authenticity. You talked about, do you know what the greatest vibrational force is? Your aura. When your aura is at its highest level, meaning you're expressing life, your life at the fullest when you're authentic. And there were other very powerful words like love and joy and peace. It was authenticity. And I thought, man, we have such an opportunity as chiropractors and chiropractic to be authentic. Like you listening to this message, hopefully you get the authentic Dr. Pete, Doc Steven, right? Kind of thing, right? I hope this is us being authentic. I believe it is. You can listen to 300 episodes and find out if we change a lot. I don't think so, but we're pretty consistently who we are unapologetically. And for you to be a great educator in your office, tableside, you can't be Stephen Francis or P. Camille or Sebastian Bowden. You got to be you. We give you frameworks. We can teach you these constructs and concepts, but you got to take them and you got to do it. And it's got to be you, the authentic you. And I just was so energized by that because I think it was empowering to the people in the room to say, oh, so I can use these words, but I can do it like through me, like the way that I will do it. I'm like, yes, that's exactly what we're saying. That was the second thing. The third was the perspective. There's this Peter Drucker quote that I quoted, but he said, it's great. So what's the difference between a job and a calling? Because the word calling came up. And are you called? Like you have a calling on your life. So there's this great quote. He says, the difference between somebody who has a job and a calling isn't the work. It's the worker's perspective. And so I leaned into this during the event because I thought, well, if you're a check-in CA or a checkout CA, you're a back office CA, you're a doctor, you're a CEO, a COO, office manager, whatever hat you wear, whatever title you might have, it's a calling or it's a job. And the difference between a calling and a job isn't the work. It's not making the phone calls, not checking people in or out. It's not doing a day one, day two, teaching your body signals workshop. It's none of the, it's the perspective of the worker.
That's right.
And I thought, man, we really helped Dr. Steven, I think, with creating a fresh perspective for everyone that comes. That's why the immersive experiences are so powerful. So anyway, I wasn't going to go there, Dr. Steven. I figured you nudged me a little bit. And I thought, well, I'm giving 3 highlights, takeaways that I had that are going to lead into, I believe, our conversation we're going to have today, which is going to be a business framework and just expanding everyone's consciousness.
I think it's a perfect lead into what we're talking about, right? So, because today what we're talking about is the unique success proposition that chiropractic has for humanity. So it's a business conversation, right? So it is what's new and unique. It is what we bring to the marketplace. It's what cuts through the noise in a crowded and confused blood red ocean of a marketplace, right? So it's like what sets us apart, what makes us different as chiropractors, and dare I say, inside of chiropractic. We're going to go there today. We're going to go there today. We're not going to make one better or good, bad, or indifferent, right? So, but we are going to say that there's a distinction, right? And when it comes to marketing, right? So ultimately it comes down to making a distinction where somebody can say those 3 important things like, hey, yeah, that's me. That's me you're talking about. And hey, yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing I'm either trying to gain or get rid of. And hey, yeah, you know what? The time is now, because the pain of inaction is actually greater than the pain of taking the risk of action, right? So this is what marketing is all about, right? So I love the fact that our unique success proposition for humanity also serves as our USP, our unique selling proposition in the marketplace, right? God is good, right? So, we show up here as vitalistic chiropractors. That's probably no secret, but I want to make sure that everybody understands vitalistic or mechanistic, wherever you fall in the continuum, you found a home here because this is chiropractic's business school. Okay. So, you show up, and if you focus on what do we have in common versus what do we do differently, right? So you're going to be able to glean lots of gold out of this conversation and hopefully all of our conversations. I'm a bit biased, Dr. Pete, but I mean, we're super conscientious of that, right? So at the end of the day, we know that regardless of what your philosophy is or how you practice, there's the practice and there's the business, right? So, and most chiropractors don't lay awake at night worrying about their practice. They lay awake at night worrying about their business, which is why we've created the #1 business podcast in chiropractic, right? So we're super proud of that, right? So this conversation is for you, regardless of where you sit on this continuum, right? So today, and the reality is that as you listen to it, we're going to use we're going to use a framework around vitalism and differentiating that in this marketplace, the chiropractic marketplace and beyond in the healthcare marketplace, right? So Dr. P, that was the theme. I've got my Vitalist t-shirt on, right? So as you know, and as so many people, all the Gen Xers in the room certainly recognize that there was a play on the Pearl Jam Vitology album cover, right? So, I'm a big Pearl Jam fan, had the privilege of seeing them about a month ago. That was a thrill. But this was one of the many T-shirts. We love to put out our merch, our swag at these events because I think that we're a community, right? So it's something that sets us apart as the Remarkables. Our tribe is that we love to be wearing. We're always on brand, right? So because I think a chest is a terrible thing to waste. You should always be messaging everywhere you go, and it's a great conversation starter inside and outside of your practice. So we really invest in our merch, right? So in our merchandise, and the vision as we're creating this merchandise is that your team will be decked out and outfitted on Monday, showing up at the office to start a conversation, to prompt a conversation, and to always be on brand and be authentic, right? So in keeping with what you're saying. So the theme for this particular event is Vitalist, right? So, and us seizing the opportunity, this limited time frame, this window of opportunity that we have to claim the term Vitalist, right? So as we know, there was a window where wellness was up for grabs. And, as much as chiropractors live a wellness lifestyle, and the definition of wellness is the body's ability to adapt readily and appropriately to stressors, right? So if that doesn't sum up the benefits of chiropractic care and the objective of chiropractic care, I don't know what would. But you know what? Everyone has taken claim to their wellness. So unfortunately, that term's been diluted. Let's put it that way, right? So it's certainly been passed around, and it's sort of lost its distinction and in its uniqueness. If we click just below wellness, you're going to find vitalism, right? So, and vitalism is the subset that I'm suggesting that we claim and we take ownership over as vitalistic chiropractors. If you're a vitalistic chiropractor and you fall in that spectrum, the vitalist is that person that uses chiropractic care as a lifestyle success strategy to be a healthy human being. It's not limited to the treatment for a crisis or symptom or body signal, which of course we love to help people that are already having trouble with their health. But it's again, that intention, the perspective that you mentioned. This is like, why do you seek chiropractic care? If you're a vitalist, it shapes the why. Why do I seek chiropractic care? Why do I get adjusted regularly? And that why is going to define how you get adjusted, when you get adjusted, and where you get adjusted, right? So Dr. Pete, Vitalist was the theme. It's the shirt I'm wearing today. And I'm going to make the suggestion that it's an opportunity for vitalistic chiropractors to create and collect a community of vitalists who self-identify as somebody who uses chiropractic as part of their lifestyle success strategy as a healthy human being.
I love it. I think, it was 2020 and, we were in the midst of the COVID catastrophe and, we decided to gather together and we recognized that we were in a very unique opportunity. We had just released what's called the Phoenix Plan, which I believe chiropractors around the world, many of you maybe listening were the beneficiaries of that. If you don't remember how crazy that was at that time, everybody was searching for a foothold, a rope, something to grab onto, where they could say, how do I respond in this moment? And so, Dr. Stephen, with your leadership, and I think with the Remarkable Practice or as an organization, we stepped up to the plate and we said, we're here to help. And it was an amazing thing to witness and to see. And during that time, we obviously, was campaigning for the presidency and all that. So we released a message in the marketplace called Make America Healthy Again. And we released what was called the Vitalistic Party. Now, you might have smiled and said, that's cute or whatever, but we meant it. And Dr. Stephen, I know that for you, when I shared at the conference this past week at the immersion, part of my opening section was I cast vision. And I casted vision for what would happen to the CDC if it got replaced by a different organization. What would happen to the local hospitals if it got replaced with a vitalistic institution? And really that was, it is the vision that I know you have and that I have, and so for us to see in just whatever 4 or 5 years after that, releasing the message of, make America healthy again, and now to see that the entire nation has adopted at the highest level the message that we released in the marketplace in 2020 in October, and the Vitalistic Party, and just even building out that framework and teaching those concepts and constructs. Like, I hope you guys pick up what I'm saying is, don't miss what we're saying on this podcast. This is the tip of the spear podcast. This is the tip of the spear leadership and thought leadership and communication in this profession. You must lean in, because it is happening and we're seeing it happen. And it's time that as chiropractic, we step up into our position to become leaders in the marketplace. I'm not saying we're not, or you're not. I'm saying we continue to walk that road and hold that line, because what the world needs now is chiropractic. What chiropractic needs right now is more successful chiropractors. Well, to be successful, you got to have people have to start to stay. They have to stay. They have to anchor to something. And so what do people anchor to? They anchor to their identity. So what we're actually talking about, Dr. Stephen, is an identity that a patient, a person, a human being, a family can have in terms of their health. And that changes everything. Once you identify, in a certain way, and I'll let you kind of jam on that because I know you love talking about that, but you've got to recognize, like, this is a big deal. Like, what we're talking about right now isn't like, oh, that's cool, that was cute, nice, I like that thought.
Yeah, nice t-shirt.
I like that t-shirt, and it's like, no, that's not what we're saying. We're saying we're putting a stake in the ground, and we're going to stand on this stake and build a whole freaking, city on this premise, like this fact that, like, this is what we're doing. We're creating Vitalists. We're bringing vitalism to the forefront. And so I know many of you are like, yeah, I'm on board. I'm with you. And then some might be, this is new. I haven't really thought about this, but I'm interested. I'm intrigued. Well, I'll tell you, this is the direction that we're going. And, we need more vitalistic chiros. We need more mechanistic chiros to say, you know what? I believe in vitalism. I need more evidence-based chiropractic to say, you know what? Vitalism makes sense to me. The evidence is in. That's what we're doing. I think we can rally a lot of the troops, Dr. Stephen, here and say, hey, this is who we are. This is what we do, and really take the territory and see the needle move in a higher level. So I personally believe we are positioned perfectly, and right now is the time.
That's right. So, I mean, a vitalist vitalism is the recognition that there is a life force, right? So beyond what we understand, the physical, the chemical, right? There's a force, right? There's a life force that animates the living matter, right? The difference between that dead body on the table and where it was minutes ago when it was alive, there's a life force, right? So much like, you can't see and feel, or you can't see, you can't see electricity. You can feel it if you grab it, right? There's electrical force that animates, mechanical things, for example, right? So there's a life force. We recognize that as vitalistic chiropractors, that, as long as there's a complete expression of that life force through matter, there are limitations to matter, but there'll be function, right? So it's like, and ultimately the purpose of a vitalistic chiropractor is to just make sure that there's no interference to the expression of that life force and that intelligence, right? So, it's not that big of a stretch for some people like to be like, yeah, actually that is me. It's like, why do you get adjusted? Do you only get adjusted when you have some kind of, crick in your neck or a stiffness, soreness, some kind of crisis? Are you just trying to like fix a symptom or a condition with the right, manipulation of a fixation? So again, I'm not poo-pooing. I'm just saying that there's a school of thought. There is a community of chiropractors that they deliver chiropractic care for a very specific reason, right? To give people the best opportunity to express health and life without interference, right? So that is the vitalistic side of chiropractic. And those patients, if you're educating those patients, if they have their epiphany and they learn the truth of above, down, inside out, and how the body really works and how the body really heals, you can create and collect vitalists inside of your practice. And here's the key to this. Now let's shift back to the business conversation. This is an identity, right? So an identity craves community of like-minded people, and like-minded people in a community have like behaviors, right? So I mean, I can boil myself down. I'm just going to speak to myself right now, Dr. B. It's like I can boil myself down. I'm a simple creature. All right. So I'm a Christian. I'm a CrossFitter. I'm a surfer. I'm a Vitalist. Right. So, and those are, so many of the things that I identify with, and I can speak for everyone in my family, my immediate family. They would say the same thing. Right. So, my daughter might throw dancer in there. Right. So ballerina, that ain't me. Right. So, my son might throw soccer player on top of that. Right. So, but at the end of the day, this is how we live our lives, and the identity comes with a predictable, observable set of behaviors, right? So, and it's our belief system that organizes our behaviors, and our behaviors that drive our experience and our outcomes, right? So at the end of the day, when you look at somebody who's a Christian, it predicts and directs a set of choices and behaviors on a lifestyle, right? So as much as a surfer, it's like there have been seasons of my life where I live by the tides and by the wind and by the swell, and where I live, people are like, why do you live in New Hampshire? I'm like, it's the Aloha state of the Northeast, right? So like it's the best waves on the East Coast. So I live close to the beach and drive an hour to the practice. Why do you do that? Because I want to live near the beach. It drives behaviors, Dr. Pete. When you look at the schedule of somebody's life, it drives the fitness routine that I do so that I can surf for longevity, right? So when I say I'm a Vitalist, that also drives a set of behaviors as much as when I say I'm a CrossFitter, right? So it's like a CrossFitter, that doesn't imply that you go to a CrossFit box and you work out in a CrossFit box. It doesn't just imply that you do functional fitness, right? So most likely you live a paleo lifestyle, right? So this is what it dictates: your eating patterns, your sleeping patterns, right? So the rhythms of your life and how you schedule your life, etc. I think you guys are picking up what I'm putting down here. A Vitalist is somebody who says that identity shifts and shapes your lifestyle decisions, right? And you can see it happening. And one of those incredibly important lifestyle decisions that we make is that we get our spine and nervous system checked regularly to make sure that there's no interference to the expression of the vitalism, the vital force in our body.
Please stick around for more business insights from this week's bonus interview with our remarkable success partner, dedicated to helping you more successfully help more people. Enjoy.
Hello, Remarkable CEOs. I am Coach Dr. Eric DiMartino with Remarkable Practice, and I'm excited to be in studio today with Jeff Van Kampen from Clinic Growth Accelerator. Clinic Growth Accelerator is one of our remarkable success partners, and we just love our remarkable success partners because they help our docs help more people. So welcome to the podcast, Jeff.
Man, I'm excited to be here, Dr. Eric. Absolute pleasure.
Awesome, man. So please take a few minutes here. Explain to the audience a little bit about yourself and tell them a little about your story.
Yeah, absolutely. So my journey in chiropractic is a little bit twisted. My journey started as an engineer by trade. I grew up in Madison, Wisconsin, and then moved to Milwaukee to go to engineering school. And then I met my business partner while we were in a physics class. And later we ended up just starting online businesses together. The first business was a clothing business that we made absolutely $0 and 0 cents on. I think we lost like $5,000 on, to be clear. So that was our first step online, but we knew that that was just going to be a stepping stone, and that ultimately we wanted to run an online business. So I had graduated about a semester before him, started working for a local business. And then my business partner, Nick, graduated, and in the corporate world, neither of us lasted very long. And then lo and behold, we ended up starting this business together. We started a marketing agency because it was low overhead and we could do it out of his apartment. And, we were decent at it. We had an idea on what to do. And then what ended up happening is, through a lot of trial and error, we actually acquired some chiropractors as clients. We did extremely well with them in terms of their performance and their ROI. And right around that time, I had also personally got involved with chiropractic around the age of like 25 or so. And so it just felt like, no pun intended, but in alignment for us to go and really kind of serve that profession, the chiropractic profession, at a deeper level. So engineer turned marketer, advertiser. Now all my time is devoted to helping run and operate Clinic Growth Accelerator. We've got about 90 people we do this for around the country: United States, Canada, Puerto Rico. We also have one guy in Australia now. So yeah, it's kind of an interesting story of getting into chiropractic, but that seems to be how a lot of folks are,
Yeah, that's great. Well, I actually didn't know that about you, that you were in engineering first. So just so our audience knows, full disclosure, I've been using Clinic Growth Accelerator in both my clinics for over 3 years now. And you guys have done a great job for me. So I've known Jeff for quite a while. But yeah, that's cool. I didn't know you're an engineer by trade. So I'm sure
Yeah,
some of that skill set comes into play with the technology and how this expands. And so that's
yeah,
pretty cool.
definitely, man, for sure. We won't spend too much time on it, but one of the things about engineering is it develops your character extremely well because they do make you solve, at least for your age, pretty rigorous problems, you know? So, I mean, I think by just going in and getting dumped a bunch of problems, you just naturally become a problem solver. And guess what? That's what business is, you know?
Totally. And actually tease me into my first question I have for you is in the remarkable practice, we always talk about that businesses really exist to solve problems for other people, right? And the bigger problems you solve, the more money you're going to make because you're helping more people. So what specific problems do you guys solve for chiropractors?
Great question. At a high level, and we'll get into the weeds a little bit, but at a high level, we solve the attraction problem that you guys referenced, the attraction portion of the practice. So we choose, there's a lot of different ways to attract patients. We primarily solve the attraction or help boost attraction through paid advertising. That is using social media ads, primarily Facebook and Instagram, to then drive leads and then get those leads in the door. So the first thing that we help solve is lead generation. That's what everybody wants. That's what people come to us for. The next set of problems, we actually help them solve too, which is qualification of the leads, teaching people how to screen people on the phone, rule out the bad people, and just ultimately like make sure that this person has a high probability of being a good patient in the office. We help with that process too, because when people say they want more leads, what they ultimately really want is qualified new patients. They want people to show up on time, listen to doctor's recommendations, and take action. And so, like right now in the time of AI, like there's definitely voice automation, which we could talk a little bit about today. But most of our clients still do the manual phone calls. They use that personal touch. Could they be a little bit more efficient on AI? Like maybe. But is that personal touch really good at getting people to show up and take action? Absolutely. So what way we teach is they do all the calls. They'll confirm appointments over the phone for qualification. And then we do teach a little bit about conversion as well. Now, people don't come to us for the conversion, but because when you increase your lead volume and you get more new patients, the next logical thing is how do I get 5 to 10% more of these people to say yes to care? So we do share ideas about that as well. So it's entirely an acquisition program. People come to us, they want to add associates, so they need a little bit more volume. Maybe they just add an associate and they need to fill their schedule. Maybe they want to just make some more money and help more people. Other times they want to open a different location and expand kind of like horizontally that way too, you know? So it's an acquisition program at heart. We don't teach a ton about retention and practice management. That's why I think we do well with TRP because you guys are killers at that. But it's all acquisition focused.
Great. And yeah, and I'm always talking to my clients, and it's like you need to have a digital presence, right? That's where all the eyeballs are right nowadays. I think some docs are hesitant to get into social media marketing or ads or even Google ads and things like that. But it's like, guys, that's where the eyeballs are right now. Maybe 10 years from now it's different, but right now that's where the eyeballs are, and you want to be where people are looking. And so I know that's exactly what you guys do so well, Jeff. And just as a client, I really appreciate the onboarding that you guys have. Like you have all these videos online that make it so easy because honestly, I have zero idea what my CAs do around this. I have no idea,
I love
right?
it.
I mean, because you have the training, right? I just look at the numbers on the back end and say, how did we do, right? How many leads did we get? How many becoming new patients? How many agreed to care and committed on day two? Like I know that stuff, but as far as the day to day, my CAs know that. I don't know anything because again, you guys have such a great training platform with videos to make it really simple. It's add water and stir, which is exactly what most busy chiropractors are looking for. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. No, absolutely. I appreciate that comment too. Yeah, I mean, like you need to make it so the client has a high probability of success. Like, have we dropped the ball? Absolutely. Have we lost clients? Like any business, 100%. I'd be lying if we don't, you know? But it's like if you can just bridge more gaps quicker and increase the probability of success, that's what we're here to do, you know? So I appreciate that.
Great. So next question I have for you is, we always talk as CEOs, we want to make sure that we're getting a positive ROI on anything that we do in our business, right? And so what kind of ROI, which is return on investment to our listeners, in case they didn't know, what kind of return on investment can a CEO expect from utilizing your guys' product and services?
Yeah, great question. Great question. I like to share at this stage too, like I'm in an industry to be clear where people boast these massive promises like we'll get you 60 people in the door in your first week for $1, otherwise you don't pay that dollar kind of deal, you know? So like I like to share averages. So we always average about a 3 to 4 to 1 ROI. Do I have some clients that get significantly more than that? Yes. Do I have some clients that get lower than 3 to 4 to 1? Yes. The average sits between 3 to 4 to 1. That means if a client were to spend $5,000, on average, we would see about 15 to 20,000 come out the backside on it. That's where we're feeling really good. Again, do we want to get 10? Absolutely. We'd love to get 10. Is it practical in every market with what people want to spend on ads? No, it's not. You're not always going to get 10 to 1. The pricing model has a huge dictation. The lead nurture has a huge dictation. It's a lot of variables in the system, but we shoot for 3 to 4 to 1. We're really good at driving in, an additional 15 to 20 bodies in the door a month. That's really where we sit. We have some clients that we've scaled bigger than that, and they've spent more in ad spend. I would say that the large majority, when you start getting more than like 2, maybe 3, 4 grand in one location, you need to diversify your spend in terms of like different offers. Like one might be chiro, one might be decompression, one might be shockwave or something like that. But if you're talking just chiropractic, we look for 3 to 4 to 1, and we do actually track that. So all of our clients have these spreadsheets that we build out for them, and that will report back what our data supports, how much you spent, how many leads you got, how many bookings you got, and then the client reports back to us how many shows in the door, and then how many converted to care, and then we calculate the acquisition cost. So we take our agency fee plus ad spend, divide it by the number of people that said yes to care and made at least one payment, and that becomes the customer acquisition cost. So we always track that to make sure that our lifetime value is easily like 4 to 5 times higher than the cost of acquisition. If that's not the case, then we need to fix the marketing or fix the pricing model.
Absolutely. And I hope you listeners listen to what he just talked about, knowing your data, right? It's like ROI is people say, well, how much should I spend on monthly ad spend, or what's expensive for monthly ad spend? I said, expensive is relative. What's your return on investment, right?
Right.
I'd rather spend 10 grand a month and get $30,000 of return than spending 5 grand a month and get only $5,000 of return. Right. Because there's no return. And so we want to make sure we're tracking these numbers. That's what I appreciate you guys as you do track these, because not all digital marketing companies do. And so we have to know our numbers. How are we actually doing along each step of the funnel from the lead to actually showing up to actually converting? Like, we want to track that funnel and see how we're doing each step of the way. And, the return is everything. And that's what I want people to actually focus on here. And I know you guys do that, which I really appreciate. So,
Absolutely.
And one thing I want docs to hear, and this is kind of off topic, but kind of in relation as well, is that you guys, so we always want to focus on ROI. That's important, guys. But the biggest thing is we need to be filling our new patient time slots. That's the most important thing. People are like, well, I don't want to spend money on digital marketing. And they have like 5 new patients a week. And it's like, how many spots do you have available that you could have new patients a week? Oh, 15. Okay, so that means you have 10 dead spots every single week that could be making you money that they're not. So for listeners out there, we want to focus first on just getting all your new patient time slots filled and having a positive ROI. Obviously, we don't want a negative ROI, but get them filled. And then once we get those filled, now we can work on how can we optimize that ROI even further. Because even if you're only getting a 2 to 1 ROI, that's better than a 0 that you would have by having empty new patient slots. And that's what I love that you guys do, is you kind of fill that gap, right? We get our internal referrals. Hopefully we're out in our community getting our external referrals, but that digital can fill that gap to get us to that next level. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And like, that's funny that you bring that up. And again, we're on borrowed time. We want to be efficient with your with your ears. But on our group call today, I harped on our clients and I said, listen, I love when you guys come to us and you say, hey, like, CGA is my only appointment source. Yeah, you guys are amazing. Like, that tailors the ego. Do I actually want our client's business to be like that? Absolutely not. I want to be a part of your marketing strategy. With all love to all the clients at CGA, nobody pays enough. It's not that big enough of an investment to support the whole organization by itself. It's just not. So I like to come in and be part of it, track the statistics. And if we end up being a large part of it, that's amazing. But it is also good to, you guys have the 33 principle. We need to follow that too, because we don't want to be the only ones. That's a good way to not have a great enterprise value,
Absolutely. Yep. Great insight. Cool. So, considering what's important next, like as you look ahead and assess the needs of our profession in the future, what are you helping docs do to be prepared for success in the future? As this is something that's always evolving and changing. So what are you guys planning for the future to help our docs succeed?
Yeah, 100%. A couple different things. One of which is like definitely the buzzword that we could talk about right now, which is definitely the AI. That is the buzzword, everybody. And to be fair, like, I think we're going to see a time even in brick and mortar chiropractic where it's like we shoot for, $250,000 to $300,000 a head. There's going to be a time where we can get $1 million a head with AI in a brick and mortar location, probably 10 million in an online business per head, So AI is definitely going to be big. We're looking into some AI, not necessarily like chat things, but more so like appointment nurture sequences, because we'll help our clients nurture the appointments, but we're really only using like a lot of just built out like drip sequences. So we're looking into some AI to help with that. We're also looking at integrating possibly like an AI voice to where people they'll actually call the leads and like schedule them for maybe offices that just don't want to take that on internally. I mean, some calls are better than none. So we're certainly looking into that for our program to see what we can add in. We're being careful and not just like flooding our clients with like, you have to do this AI just because it is the buzzword. But we do also need to just keep our own business up because that is going to be a real thing. The second thing I think is going to be extremely important is that we're kind of like going into, people are calling it like a trust recession. And I think it's because like, off an election season, internet's never been more popular. Spam calls have never been more popular. There is just like a lot of like toughness in like people's like ability to bridge a gap with a business, So I think having some level of personal touches, even if it's automated, goes a long way in a nurture process. So one of the things we've been thinking a lot about is in our own business, we implemented what's called a hammer them strategy. That means when somebody books an appointment, they get hammered with a series of ads in addition to emails that warm them up before they get on the call with us. And I think that's a really high leverage activity because it's all automated and people come to the call framed. So we've been thinking about doing that internally for our offices as well as having the docs put together like a hammer them sequence and just really like giving a lot of value and information right away, so that the patient shows up with a higher probability to be framed correctly, So the businesses that communicate the most and communicate the most efficiently in terms of value delivery, those are also going to be winning in the future too.
Like that. Yeah. And that's how you kind of get that trust in the marketplace nowadays. You have to create value up front, right? Create value, give them value before you ask for anything in return. That's the big thing I see online everywhere right now. And so, yeah, I appreciate you guys are doing that. That's awesome.
Yeah, 100%, man. And I think like one last thought on that is like, the 80s, 90s Wall Street days, it was like beat people over the head until they buy. I mean, that's what it was. It's not like that now. Like now it's like, who do I like the most? Who's willing to give some on the call before they ask? And those are the people that are going to win in today's marketplace because there's just no room for sketchiness anymore.
You're right. There's just too much competition. It's too easy to see through people with all the digital footprints that we have everywhere. So yeah.
That's so true. Yeah.
Yep. Awesome, 100%. Man. So lastly, what's the best way for our listeners to learn more about you guys, to get in contact with you guys so they can take the next step?
Yeah, absolutely. This is the first time I got a chance to share this, so I'm excited. We recently purchased a domain. It's called growyourclinic.com. So you can go to growyourclinic.com. There's a bunch of information on there. And there's also a place if you want to like book an appointment or schedule a call with us, there's a spot to do so on there as well. There's a little note section that asks like where you came from. So you can certainly put in like from the TRP podcast or something like that. So we know. But that's the easiest way. Go to growyourclinic.com, submit your info, and then I'll likely personally reach out to you and see if we can help you with what you're looking for.
Man, I appreciate that. So listeners, please take the opportunity to reach out to these guys. They do a great job. And, they've been a great success partner working with TRP over the last couple of years. So I appreciate you guys. Awesome. So Remarkable CEOs, remember to tune in each week to the Remarkable CEO podcast. I hope everyone has a blessed day, and we will see you guys next week.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Remarkable CEO podcast. Remember, what the world needs now is chiropractic. And what chiropractic needs now is more successful chiropractors. If you like this podcast, please subscribe, share with a friend, and leave us a review. And if you'd like to connect with us personally, direct message us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Now go and be remarkable.